Hello everyone, welcome back to Geeks for Geeks. My name is Muskan Agarwal, and today we have Shailesh with us to share his interview experience at Walmart and share all the insights that he gained throughout the process. I will not, extend it further, and let's start by having a brief introduction about Shailesh.
Okay, thanks for the invite today. Hey everybody, my name is Shailesh Sharma. I am currently a final year student at RV College of Engineering, and I've received the internship as a full-time offer at Walmart. My major is computer science engineering. It's like, thanks for having me
Yeah,
today.
that is really great. Thanks for doing this. Firstly, I would like to start by knowing about your coding journey. Like, how did you start, and like, you were into coding since school, or you came to know about it in college?
Okay, so actually, my love for coding started in 11th grade. Uh, in 11th grade, usually in Karnataka, you have this thing called PU, right? So, you have an option of either choosing a biology or computer. So, that time I took computers, and that's when I actually really started liking computers because there we actually learned how to like write proper codes. I mean, not that that proper, but still at least you had to use logic and everything else. Right? So, I found it very interesting, and plus our teacher there she was really good at teaching the subject itself. So that's when I really started liking coding.
Okay,
And
that
then
is really great.
yeah, and then when I started, when I joined college, right? So first year I started getting into competitive coding a bit, and that's when it took off my love for coding. Actually, yeah.
Okay, and was your placement off campus or on campus?
The placement was on campus for me.
On campus, okay. So let's start by knowing like how many rounds were there, like how many online assessments and technical interview rounds or HR interview rounds are there before you got the final offer.
Sure. Walmart comes on campus two times. One's for the summer internship and one is for the winter internship. The summer internship is for 2 months, and for the winter internship is a 6 month internship. What Walmart does is for the summer interns, they have for the 2 months internship, they have one online assessment. Post that, they will have a single interview, and based on that, they will give you the 2 month internship.
Right.
Post and for conversion of that to a summer internship and a full time internship, they will have a separate interview after your internship is completed. So this is for the process how you get into summer. For winter, what happens is when they come for winter, they'll come for a full time role plus an internship role. So that time you'll have one online assessment, and post that you'll have three interviews. The
Okay.
first interview round will only be your basics, your CS basics. It'll be related to data structures, related to the software engineering, operating systems. There are basic questions. It'll be like a 45-minute round to a 30 to 45-minute round, not much. Your second round will be coding related round where they focus more on graphs, not like complex graphs. They don't expect you to like remember any code like Distrata's algorithm or anything. They don't expect you to do that, but they see your approach of how you come up with the solutions for graphs and for DB questions in second round. And for the final round will be a managerial round where they'll ask you about your resume and everything. And finally, based on that, they either give you an internship offer or a full-time and plus internship offer, or you get a relocation. Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen that in most of the companies, like they don't focus on the exact code, like they focus more on the logic side, even if your the syntax is not that great. It's like it's okay with
Yeah.
them. They focus more on
So
the logic, like
yeah, like basically all companies, what they want to see your approach and your communication skills rather than whether the code works properly or not. So that's a majority of them don't even compile your code, right? They just want to see how you think,
right.
how you communicate your answers, and then how you're able to show it in my editor. They don't compile or anything to test whether the code is actually working or not. They just want to see the process, your thinking process. Yeah.
Right. Most of the company take their code on Google Docs or like some place where you do not have to actually compile the code. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, next I would like to ask like what was the difficulty level of the online assessments?
The online assessment, I would say it was medium difficulty. So it had a few MCQ questions and two coding questions. So the first coding question wasn't that hard. But the second coding question was a question where you had to think a bit, and plus the time constraint was also like 1.5 hours, if I remember correctly. So on GFG, on Geeks of Geeks, there's interview experiences. So if you want to know the proper structure, you can go and look at the GFG experiences by people who have posted. Those are very helpful because they tell you the exact timings and exact things they had. Plus,
Right.
they put the GFG links also for the questions. So uh, that's also really good. I think there's disturbance.
One second.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, is it okay now?
Yeah, it's much better now. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so like the difficulty level was easy or medium, we can say, like if we
I
compare in
wouldn't say
terms of
it
lead
was
code
medium.
and geeks. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Medium,
if you're
right?
doing lead code and GFG, then it should be around medium itself. I mean, they're not questions you'll
Right.
find online. You'll find in like many online assessments, but it's mostly like you'll have to apply concepts that time itself. There'll be a mixture of like a few questions which you have already practiced. Yeah.
Right. And like, was there any resume selection before the online assessments and the interviews happened?
I mean, the resume was mainly focused only on the last year rounds, the coding round. So before the coding actually happened, right? They asked you like a few two or three questions. Before that, they actually just ask you basics about your resume. When the final managerial round, they focus a lot on your resume. So it's better to have at least a few good projects, like at least two or I mean 2 or 3 is sufficient, more than sufficient. Uh, I mean, the project which you do in your college itself, right? Make sure that the projects are good, you can actually talk a lot about them and put them in your resume, and that should be sufficient of you, I think.
Right. Right. So like they did not reject or select students on the basis of resume solely.
No, that is only in the final rounds. The first few rounds are purely coding based, pure coding based and a knowledge in your CS
Okay,
subjects.
okay. That is
Yeah.
yeah. But I think in off-campus resume plays a very important role because companies shortlist students on the basis of resumes. So
Yeah.
can you give some tips to apply off-campus?
Okay, so I mean, few of my friends also got Walmart through off campus itself, so I can talk for them. So what they did to stand out was they had projects. So Walmart, a lot of the roles in Walmart are based on back end and on basically on web dev, right? So they make sure they have really good projects in the modern technologies like Node.js or React and stuff in their resume, and they make sure they so make sure you don't copy your projects or anything. Make sure you do it on your own, right? So you have a really good understanding of the whole structure of how everything works out very well. So if and make sure resume also if you're applying off campus, make sure it's legible. Don't add random stuff like hobbies and anything. I mean, nobody wants to see that in a one-page resume, right? They want to see your skills and uh, your CGPA criteria. So whether it meets the CGPA criteria or no, and you basically your skills. So make sure your resume is legible and it has all the info which is needed, not anything else. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I think one mistake people make resume for 2 to 3 pages. I think resume they should restrict to just one page, right?
Yeah, so I mean, 2 to 3 pages. I mean, that's a lot, right? So imagine you're getting like a resume for 1,000 people, and you want to say three pages for each. That's actually too much, right? So it's better if it's a one
Right.
page short where you just list your project, your details, your college details, and everything, your CGPA, and a few of your skills which you're
Yeah.
really interested in. That would be better than
And
having
as
a
you
3 4 page resume. Yeah.
right, and as you mentioned, we can remove stuff like hobbies, and maybe if you are at lack of space, you can remove the courses section. Some people put the course section, no, like
Yeah, I
certifications
mean,
basically.
I mean certifications. If you really want to put certifications, it's better to make a project out of what you've learned rather than putting the certification. I mean, Udemy. If you put like something like a Udemy certificate or a Coursera certificate, right? I mean, those are just certificates. Those actually don't tell you how much you have learned, right? You can just get the certificate normally by doing the course, but how much you've learned is actually how you apply it in a project and everything. So that's actually better than putting just the certificate as just as a random certificate column, but in that you integrate it into a project and you say that here I've actually done a course and this is what I've learned from that. That would be much better than actually doing. Yeah.
Yeah, I 100% agree with what you said. Also, I wanted to know like what all projects did you work on, because I can see a lot of comments in which they're talking about the projects. So can you
Yeah.
elaborate
Okay.
your projects?
So throughout my college journey, right? So the first a year and a half, I was really obsessed with uh, web development, full stack development. So I created, you know, websites to learn. So I created random Django websites, React websites, and hosted them on Heroku. So I did that in my first 2 years, and later on I took my AI elective in college. So that also really intrigued me. Once I was going through the course content and how when the semester progressed. So I really did projects on that too. I did a few models, a few deep learning models for recognition and making bounding boxes and everything. So in my resume, I had just listed the web dev projects which are hosted on Heroku right now, and just on the AI project. That's all. The thing is, the project I did everything on my own, so I was able to explain and uh, do it properly. Yeah. And apart from that, make sure whatever projects you put is something you actually like. That also plays an important role, right? Because if you want to explain anything, any project, it's better. Yeah, it's better to explain something you really like, so that you can show your passion for the project. Yeah, that's all. Uh, okay, so yeah, so okay, so for people who want to actually apply to Walmart, so they have a lot of recruitment challenges, not all throughout the year, but some months, right? So currently there's a uh, thing called Code Hers, which is going on Dare to Compete. So if you're really interested for that, you can do that. And apart from that, there's also uh, there's also university programs, recruitment programs which are hosted. So make sure you visit the Walmart careers page to be up to date, because it's not there throughout the years for interns at least. So if you're a college student, go for it. I mean, it's really fun working at Walmart. And apart from that, yeah, so Code Hub is also going on. It's going on right now. I think 21st or 22nd is the last date to register for female candidates on Dare to Compete. So kindly please check it out if you want to really join Walmart and go ahead with that. That'll be very nice. Yeah, I think Muskan has disconnected, so I will I try best to yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm really sorry for the network issues. I think it is
Yeah,
from my
that's no
end.
issues. Yeah, that's no issues. Yeah.
Hello, Shailesh, am I
Hello. Yeah.
audible?
Yeah, you're audible. Yeah. Okay, so I was just answering a few questions which were given in the
Yeah, I'm
comments. Yeah,
really sorry.
yeah, it's okay.
Yeah,
It's okay. Yeah. So somebody
yeah.
in the
So we
chat
were
has a draft question. Yeah.
we were
Sorry.
talking about your projects. We were talking
Yeah,
about
yeah,
the projects that you.
yeah. So I've already told about the projects, the websites that I've hosted on Heroku, and a few AI projects because I was really interested in that. Yeah. That's
Okay. And
so
like
yeah.
some of the freshers, I wanted to ask, like they're not able to, they're not, who are not familiar with the tech stack. So what can they do? Are simple projects okay? Like they've done by themselves,
Simple.
but quite simple.
Yeah, that is also okay, but make sure you're using the latest tech stack, right? So I mean, you can always ask on Google or ask people who are actually working. You can even connect with me on LinkedIn and connect with anybody on LinkedIn. I'm sure anybody would really be happy to help you, right? So you can ask them what are the latest tech stacks that are used for your interest. For example, if you really want to go on for backend, then it's all what do people use in backend, whether it's Java or if you want to do a Python based backend, what are the pros cons. It's available on internet too, so make sure you're able to always do it on the latest tech stacks. And when you're able to do that, I'm pretty sure you'll be able to explain everything that's asked regarding that. Yeah. Okay, so
Okay, and I want to ask,
okay,
like, what was your preparation strategy? In what year did you, like, you started in your second year or first year? How did it all start?
okay. Yeah, so I'll start by so in my first year, I was really interested in coding, right? Because I told you in 11th and 12th, I saw there was a lot of our teacher who really got me interested in coding. So first year I started doing a bit of competitive coding. I went through companies which I targeted, the GFG articles for companies I targeted, GFG archives. So this is a pro tip for anybody who's applying for any company. Make sure you go to the GFG archives because they have the past experiences for everything. I made sure I did that for all the companies that I've applied. And once you do that, you get to know a basic idea of what each and every company are. So once you do that, it's better to go to lead code and then the GFG links for the questions and try solving them on your own, right? Try it for 1 hour. If you're not able to do it, then try again for another day for 1 hour. If you're still not able to do it, then you go check the solution to see what is the thinking process. You need to develop the thinking process rather than actually know the answer. So that's an important thing. So I did that from the first year competitive coding a bit on Hacker Earth, lead code. Then I tried going code forces, but I couldn't go that far. And that's why I stopped there because I was focusing more on doing projects and my college, right? So that, yeah. So apart from that, I did a bit of computer coding, lead code. Yeah. So lead code, the past, like when placements are coming near it during third year, I focused more on lead code and going through GFG stuff. That's all.
Okay, but I wanted to ask that a lot of times while
Oh, yeah, your voice is breaking actually.
coding, we feel demotivated,
Your
like
voice
we
is
are not
breaking.
able to
Your
solve
voice is breaking a lot
questions.
actually.
Yeah, I'll just repeat my question. I wanted to ask, we are not able to work on projects.
I'm
We
sorry, you're
feel
not
demotivated.
audible. I'm very sorry, you're not audible still. So.
Just 1 second, I'll repeat.
Yeah, sure. By that time, I'll try asking few questions that people asking on chat. So SD2 directly out of college. Okay, yeah. So yeah, this is a good question. So Walmart, the starting position is of SD2. There's no SD1 as such for Walmart Labs at least. So you directly join as an
Yeah, am I
SD2
audible
instead of an
now?
SD1. Yeah, your voice is better. It's still breaking a bit. I think there's an internet issue. Now it's better. Yeah. Okay, so I continue that. Yeah, so once you join Walmart, right, you directly join as an SD2, not as an SD1. So the starting position itself is of an SD2. It's just like a term, right? So yeah, SD1. I think they're for the actual engineers who work on the Walmart stores, right? In Walmart stores who work as engineers. There, those are SD1s. So the people who work on backend and all these full stack developers are SD2s. Okay, and yeah, what's gonna be that? Hmm. Okay, I think there's still an issue. Okay, so I'll answer more questions. So, what are the language you emphasize? Okay, so I mean, not only Walmart, majority of the companies for backend they use Java because I mean, mostly Spring and Spring Boot for backend development because I mean it's really good using it for it solves all the dependency errors, right? You don't have to worry about dependencies and anything. So they use Java, but I mean, if you want to do competitive coding, right, the language does not matter. Whatever language you use, it's really no matter. That does not matter at all. It's your thinking process, not the language that you're using. So I mean, I did most of my coding in C++, but now I'm working in Java. So if you want to know the language before joining the company, then learning Java would be a good idea, you know. But has a lot of HTML libraries you can use for competitive coding. So, or just coding in general, right? You don't have to uh, like manually type all the algorithms and stuff. So I would say C++ is good for in that case. But majority of the companies are, I mean, they still use Java. They are shifting to Python, but majority Java is still used. Because I mean, all the legacy systems are already built there, right? Is DSA is necessary? I would say yeah, DSA is pretty necessary. If you want to join a company like Walmart or any other top-notch company, right? Because DSA helps them to judge your thinking ability. So I mean, DSA, if you really want to start learning DSA, right, you can either go to GFG and see their uh, idea, or you can go what I did. I went to HackerEarth. So HackerEarth has this division of each and every topic. So there's division array questions. There's divisions in uh, uh, tree questions and everything. There's a division, so you can go there and go to easy or medium questions and try solving on those. Almost,
Am I
uh,
audible
I'm really sorry,
now?
you're not audible. I'm sorry. Yeah, he's still not audible. Not audible at all. So I'll try to fix it. I'll answer more questions, I guess. Okay, yeah. Nice filter. Oh, thank you. Okay. How do you proceed when stuck while doing a CP problem? Okay, so I mean, first of all, don't get scared thinking it's a CP problem, you won't understand anything. Every question has a, I mean, so every question has a brute force approach, right? So even if you go for any interviews and you don't know, like you see a question, be like, oh, I don't know how to do this in the most efficient way. It's okay. Start with the most basic approach you can think of, even if it's wrong, right? I mean, you'll eventually find out if you start doing that approach that you're wrong. So uh, start thinking by start with the most brute force approach, and then try building a most efficient approach on that. That would be really good. How do you build intuition for recursion problems? Okay, so I mean, for that, I think you can go to YouTube and look at recursion videos, because I mean, I did that for concepts that I don't really understand or I did not actually get by looking at these solutions or by doing coding. I always went to YouTube, and there's some of the other person who explains it really well how to do it. So that's what I would suggest you to do. Okay, I'll take next question. Graph questions are asked. Yeah, I mean, graph questions in the sense it's basic graphs questions, right? It's not anything complicated. For example, they won't ask you to go directly write of Floyd algorithm, Floyd Warshaw's algorithm. They won't be like, okay, go code it. That's something that they won't ask. What they'll do is they'll give you a question, a basic question, right? So you want, for example, okay, I'll give you this question. In an end-to-end matrix, you want to go from starting position to end position, and each of the matrix data has some value, which is the cost. So I mean, that's a basic question, right? So you first go the brute force approach, where you do all possible cases. Then you can improve it by using DP, where instead of going by all possible cases, you find at each position what is uh, the minimum cost that it takes and stuff, right? So this is how you do it. You start from the most basic idea that you can think of, and you build on that. That's what I would say to you. Okay, is Codeverse very difficult? So I don't. I mean, difficult is relative, right? But I would say that Codeverse. I think the first round is an MCQ round, and the second round is a coding round. So I think it's on par with the Walmart uh, coding questions. I mean, I would suggest you to go to the GFG archive. So you type on Google, if you go and type Walmart GFG archive, there'll be a lot of people who have listed their experiences, and many people are from Coders also. When I was preparing, I saw that too. So there they have a good outline of all the questions and everything. So you can look at that and relatively guess what's the difficulty level and play it according to that. Coding questions difficulty level on Codehurst. So I mean, if you're comfortable with medium questions on lead code, then I think it will. I think you will be able to solve majority of the questions. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, am I audible now?
Yeah, yeah. Now you're audible.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
there's some issue with the camera and the mic thing. Like, I'll just turn off my camera and like
sure,
I
sure.
think now it is perfect, right?
Yeah, no issues.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I'll come to the question that I was asking. So I was asking that a lot of times while we are solving questions, we feel demotivated because we are not able to solve the questions or we are not able to work on problems. So what kept you motivated in that time?
Okay, so motivation, right?
Right.
One second. Yeah. So when okay, so I mean, once you start a question, right? I mean, so lead code also does that. I mean, majority of the people do that, right? Even hard questions, they label it by they label it by saying it's easy question sometimes, and you feel really demotivated because you're not able to solve even an easy question. But I mean, I mean, don't go by the tag. You try solving it in the most basic way you can solve. Just get the most basic idea and try coding it. I mean, if you get a TLE, that means your logic is correct, but your time complexity is bad, right? So, and then you have the basic idea for the code, and then you try building on that itself. So, I mean, there will be a lot of times you will be very demotivated. You try 3 hours, 4 hours, and you're not able to get it. So that things like that will be there, right? But if you really want to crack interviews, then you'll have to learn this approach of thinking in such a manner where you're able to not lose hope and like build from a basic solution to an optimal solution slowly. Yeah,
Right. So now I think you have taken most of the like questions from the comment section, but we will still try to take if there are any more questions. So yeah, my internet is not stable today, so we'll try to take as many questions as we can.
sure.
So
Okay,
have we
so
taken this question? How do we apply? Does applying through career site work?
okay, so if if you want to apply for a full-time role, right? I'm talking about not interns, for a full-time role. You can hit anybody up from Walmart. They'll be able to give you a referral. So referrals are only applicable for full-time roles, not for internship roles. So for any full-time employee in Walmart, they'll be able to refer you for any role. For interns, they have this they have many hiring events throughout the years, throughout the year. It won't be continuous. It won't be continuous like throughout the whole year, but on specific months, you can always check the career website, and you can follow Walmart on LinkedIn. They'll keep updating their hiring events and everything over there. And yeah, so for full times, it's better to apply to referral and through the website if you don't get a referral. And for interns, you can apply to the uh, uh, to the uh, graduate event or graduate higher ed competition. Yeah, that's it.
Right. So now
Okay.
Pranav has asked that what should I do in first year of college, CP or development? So yeah, this is one of the questions that most of the students
Okay.
have, CP or development.
So I would say do what you like. So a few of my friends, right, who got into Walmart, they really love developing. They created like pretty complicated websites. To be honest, with I don't understand yet. So that's pretty. Do what you like, but make sure towards the end you're able to. If you start with developing, right, you'll have an amazing resume by default if you really love developing. So make sure if you have that, make sure you're able to make sure you do a bit of lead code towards your end. Towards your if you're in first year, you have a lot of time, right? First 2 years, you can do a lot of development. Make sure towards your third year, you're able to solve like lead code easy or medium questions. So you just have an idea during the interviews, because interviews majority for majority of the companies, first 2 rounds mostly will be coding, because that's how they gauge your thinking abilities. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, right. I hope it answers your question, Pranav. Then the next thing, like Akansha has written that she's been coding for 4 years, but nothing seems to work out for her. So any tips for her?
I mean, I would say like, I mean, stuff like this happens, right? Sometimes there's even a luck factor. Like a lot of luck factors affect your everyday courses, right? So, what I would say is, don't lose hope. Like that's the main thing. You should never lose hope. Never lose hope. There are people who actually, everyone like, there are people around you who care about you. So just slowly keep working hard. Keep applying for jobs online to many portals. Some or the other place you will get it, and then try getting experience and apply to your dream companies. That's what I would say.
Right, it might be tough, but at the end, it'll all be worth it, right? So,
Yeah, it will all be worth it.
then the next thing Amit has asked that what are the expectations for a full stack developer with 4 years of experience
For
in
okay,
programming?
I mean, so the people who I see in working in Walmart, right? They so majority of them have very good communication skills. And for full stack developer, so it depends. Right? If you're applying for back end role, you should have a good knowledge of the architecture of how you're of basically how you good knowledge of software architecture of how you build good applications from scratch and build modules, right? That's how I would say for back end. For front end, good idea of, I mean, same thing. Like, so if you go to GFG, right, there are also people who are with 2+, 3+ years experiences applying for HD3, HD4, who have also shared their experience. So you can go through there, see what kind of questions, see what they ask, and you can go ahead with that too.
Right. And sometimes like the exact question might not repeat, but the type of questions do repeat in companies. Like I've seen so many. So
Correct. You
yeah,
get a basic idea of what they ask. So that would be,
right.
yeah.
Then a lot of confusion is around the language. Like juniors ask that what language did they choose. So Devansh is asking that Java or C++, which one did you prefer in your time?
Okay, so in 10th, I had learned Java as part of my curriculum, and in 11th, 12th, I did C++. I chose C++ personally over Java, even though Java is used much more now because C++
Hmm.
has STLs and it makes it easy for
Right.
coding. So personally, I use that for coding. But I mean, now once I've joined Walmart, I mean, nobody uses C++ for development fun, as far as I have seen now. So it's, I
Right.
mean, I would say it's a personal choice because Java also has like libraries now. That time it did not, but now it has. So I mean, it's up to you. I chose C++ personally, but it's your choice.
Yeah, but as you mentioned earlier, also the logic is more important. So like language is just like a tool or something. I think you should focus more
Yeah,
on the logic. Language you can
correct.
convert, I think, anytime.
Yeah, you can come. That's not an issue. Yeah,
Yeah. Then okay. So the starting wale questions, I think you've already taken them.
yeah. I know where I've stopped, so I can continue from there.
Yeah, sure.
Uh, when I try array, hash, stack, queues, etc., I'm able to solve easily. But when I try recursion tree, I'm always stuck even after reading a tutorial too. What approach to okay? So for this, I would suggest you to go to YouTube and start from the very basic. I mean, even if you think you know everything about recursion, I would suggest start from the very basic. YouTube. Go watch what recursion is. Go watch people solve recursion problems. I mean, there are many YouTubers who do walk a step-by-step solving of questions on YouTube. So they'll take a question, they'll tell their thought process, what they're thinking, and how they're applying that. So I would suggest you to do that. Go to YouTube and do that. Okay, so
Right.
next question is, what is the difficulty of code host? I've already spoken about that. If you're able to do medium questions in late code and have a good idea about how you'll be able to solve it. How do you apply? Okay, I've answered that. Okay, yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
Ravnik, all
Rohit
the
has
questions
asked
are
a question. Rohit has asked the question that like there are is it like companies only hire Java professionals? Is it true or not?
I would say, I mean, uh, so currently the need, I don't think that matters. So uh, currently many of the companies are working on Java as a backend, right? So .NET is something you're special. I think Microsoft hires a lot of .NET developers. So you can try
Right.
there. So, I mean, it depends on the company, right? I mean, company has their own preferences for languages, and they have their own preferences of what they use in their architecture, right? So based on that, you can always go to the career sites for the uh, so when you apply even for referral, right, it's better to always go to the career sites and get the job ID of what you want to apply for, so that when you ask for referral, you can mention the job ID for which referral you're asking for.
Right.
Yeah.
But usually the companies don't put this language barrier. Like I have not seen any company till now put
Oh
this.
no, no, yeah, it's no. He's asking about the actual job profile. So
Okay.
he works as a .NET developer, but he's seeing a lot of jobs based on Java itself. I mean, that is based on what people use Java. I mean, what many people use Java for backend and uh, for backend just because of Spring Boot and Maven, right? So it has a beautiful dependency. You don't have to worry about dependencies at all. So that's why many people are using Java. Yeah, that's right.
Right. So I think we have taken most of the questions. So sorry for all the network glitches, and
Yeah,
thank you,
that's okay.
Shailesh, for doing this. Like,
Yeah,
I
thank you
hope
for
we try.
inviting me.
Yeah, thank you for doing this. It's really great, like, to help out others. So, like, it's really helpful. Like, I hope, like, all the viewers who are watching this, it helps them, whenever they're giving interviews for Walmart, maybe, or some other company.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me today. It was an amazing
Thank
session.
you. Thank you guys for joining the webinar. And yeah, if you still have any other questions and your questions were not answered in the stream, you can try contacting Shailesh on LinkedIn. We will put his LinkedIn in the description below. And yes, I will see you in the next webinar. Bye bye.